All right, we are live, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Without Rules, the show where we celebrate people who exemplify the hunter mindset. They make moves, they color outside the lines, and they have found creative ways to channel the attention of their community into currency. This show is sponsored by Blue Crocus Solutions, a web design and SEO agency focused on helping home service companies. I am your host, Louis Vandervalk, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with James Hatfield, not to be confused with the well-known but less cool James Hetfield, who plays guitar or something for some band called Metallica. But James Hatfield, our guest today, is the Chief Revenue Officer at LiveSwitch, a global technology company that serves the trades and other businesses. As an industry thought leader and expert in sales, leadership, and business innovation, he has extensive experience working with entrepreneurs, small businesses, and Fortune 500 enterprises. James is also an entrepreneur who founded a painting and power washing company. So we're going to have a lot of fun here today. We're going to talk about some of what he's up to at LiveSwitch, some of his history, all that good stuff. So James, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. And if you ask my teenage daughters, they would totally disagree with you. I am the less cool version of James Hatfield, but it depends who you ask.
Well,
My
what do
wife
they
might
know?
have a different thing to say about it.
Yeah, we'll take your wife's opinion and run with that here today. But welcome to the show, and just give people a little bit of a history for you. I don't want this, to be all about, James's story in the sense of it's important, but I really want to focus on tactics and whatnot here. So give people, a quick overview of where you've come from and why that lends to your credibility as someone here chatting today.
Yeah, I think what is unique is I come from living on a ladder, and then I made the jump into technology. And when I say living on a ladder, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My grandfather, his dad passed away when he was young, but he was the oldest in the household. He was 16, so he had to drop out of high school and go get a job at a tire shop. And really came from nothing. My father didn't come from much. His dad died young as well. They both built their own
Brutal.
homes. Their dreams for me was, my dad was like, James, you need to be a plumber. My grandfather's like, James, you need to be a painter. I took the painting side on this one. Could have been a plumber, no problem, but learned how to paint houses from head to toe, and then started a business, and the hunter mentality kicks in. I've always been a little bit of a hunter and not a farmer, and I started off my business literally just going, I'm dating myself, but I'd walk up to a door and knock on it and work to get a job, and then put my crews to work. I had multiple crews, and we were painting houses head to toe, and then we transitioned to power washing because we're in the South here, and we rather play with water guns. So we ended up doing that, and the recurring revenue and power washing was better. So we enjoyed
I love it.
that. Yeah.
I love it. I was chatting with Brandon Vaughn earlier this week on the podcast, and we talked about water guns. He has a hiring company now, and they'll hire for power washing companies, and they'll actually make it like, hey, do you want to come play with water guns? And they'll put that in their ad. So love it. So yeah, again, the apple doesn't fall from far from the tree. You've been in the trades for a long time. Talk about, I guess there's so many different angles we could take, but let's take either company, the painting or the power washing company. What are some marketing tactics we can really hit people with right from the get-go, and then we'll get into LiveSwitch and all of that here.
Yeah, I think when people think about marketing, they think net new business. Like, I got to go on to the next door, and you have to. You have to. I remember some weeks would come up, and I'm like, I don't have enough work for next week, and I go the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. All right, I'm selling. I gotta fill my crew's time up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that hunter mentality, but I think what we forget about is the recurring revenue side of our business and the importance of going back to our customers and claiming those homes as ours. Right? Sometimes, like, I had someone do my roof two years ago. I can't remember the name of the company that did my roof. So if a neighbor asked me who did your roof, I don't remember. That's not good. That is not a good thing. We need to be thinking about how do we get back on property, especially for power washing, because I would power wash not just biannually, but there's other things around the home that needed to be soft wash, deck,
Yeah.
a driveway. There's ways to upsell. Are you upselling? Are you putting membership programs together? Are you squeezing every bit of juice out of those customers and going back to them and giving them an incredible customer experience, because you want to go back and get more business? If you didn't give a great, incredible experience, if you were non-memorable, if you didn't even leave behinds and tags, you're missing out on so much money. It's ridiculous. And if that's what you get from the show, then I want to challenge you on that. And we'll talk more about, I think, Louis, like what we can do to really get that recurring revenue engine going. That will really help to compound your business when you start to get into that mentality, as well as maintain the hunter mentality of the new deals too.
Yeah, yeah, you get to hunt and farm. You mentioned, the hunter versus farmer. I think I like to think of it as a hunter versus, just the order taker, right? But once you hunt, you've got to farm. It's actually interesting. You mentioned the roofer. I had a plumber come a couple of years ago, needed something done. And then about 6 months later, I needed another thing done. I couldn't remember who I brought out. They'd never contacted me since. They'd never put me on an email or SMS, campaign. I went on Google, and it turned out I did find them again, and had them come out, and it was great. But if they had been nurturing me, I would have been there. I would have known right away. On the flip side, I'm looking at getting into jujitsu again, and I filled out the form on a website. They've been emailing me and texting me like pretty consistently for about 3 months. And it's like, I know where I'm going once I, figure out what the schedule is, and get some stuff sorted out on the family side, schedule wise. But like, they're there. I'm not even considering anybody else for jiu-jitsu now.
I love it. I love it. And there's other things you got. I have so much I want to talk about on this.
Let's dive into it. I actually think that we should sit in this now and
Okay.
dive right in. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So in my current company, we focus in on live and recorded video. We're one of only 4 companies in the world that do live video. It's pretty unique, and our story originates from reinventing the 911 phone call, and then we ended up back into home services. And what our customers are doing around this effect of recurring revenue and maintaining your customer base is they're leveraging the power of QR codes on site. So, and you said it earlier. You said it perfectly earlier. The normative consumer, let's know the customer. Always know the customer. How do people buy? If you have a plumbing problem, which you had a plumbing problem, you went to Google. No, but before you went to Google, you know where you went? You went probably, let's just assume the toilet wasn't working. You went to the toilet first. As a homeowner, renter, I don't care who you are, we normatively go to the problem. We have to look at it. Like when there's an accident on the highway, what does everybody do? They slow down. It's on the other side of the road. I'm like, guys, go. You can't help it. It's human nature. So you go and you look at the problem. Here's where you're going to box out Google. Nobody's talking about boxing. What do you mean box out Google? Right? So when you go to the toilet, now when you open the tank lid, because that's what they do, you know what needs to be on the underside of that tank lid? Your branding. As a plumber, it needs to say James and Lewis Plumbing Company, have our phone number, and in addition, put a QR code where a customer can scan that QR code, take a video of the issue, and upload it. This is going to be a speed bump.
How crazy would that be?
It's already here, and my customers are already doing it. So we teach people how to claim your property. Right? You're claiming. You want to go and put QR codes. If you are a plumber, you're putting it on the toilet and the water heater. If you are an electrician, you're getting it on that breaker box. HVAC, you're putting it right there on the HVAC unit. If you're in gutters, on the downspout, and you're in garage door, on the garage door, right? Like
how about a painter?
Garage door.
Nice.
Garage door.
Nice.
Put it right there. Garage door. On the back of that garage door. And you can frame it up as, hey, we have membership programs. You can get people to pay for protection plans. If you're a painter, come out and annually seal their deck. If it's a wood deck, that's what I used to do. So I can get back on property. Oh, what else needs to be painted? How about the inside of the house? How about the office? How about the shed? Right? But what we're trying to do is make a speed bump to Google, because people go to Google and they look for the highest stars and they call the phone number. And we'll get to that in a second. Race to the face. But now I'm trying to create that speed bump. I'm the incumbent. That's what they're calling sales. I'm the incumbent.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing, if that family or those renters move out and the new family or new renters, new tenants move in.
It's all tagged up.
It's all tagged up. Oh, I guess this is my plumber. I guess this is who knows everything about my property. Yes, that's how you do it. And by them uploading a video, now the salesperson or the technician gets to look at the issue and call, and you're already a step ahead. You're quoting, you're picking the time to come out and fix it. You see, you're saving steps. Your speed is what it's all about right now.
It's huge. Yeah. I mean, we live in a consumeristic, we've been trained as consumers. You go on Amazon, you get it next day. You can, find out everything you need to know in the reviews and the comments. And if you're not working to make your business that way as any business owner now, you're missing out on jobs. You're missing out on that race to the face. Let's dive into race to the face. Why is that so important? And why I love that you threw in we back solved the 911 call, because that really puts some emphasis here on what we're doing.
Yeah. So let's start there. The 911 call. So we got the opportunity. So we service large companies as well. We're bringing this technology to home services, right? So the chief of police and I got together, and I was able to work with our technologists. And the problem is, when you're in a compromised situation and you call 911, you're on a technology called telephony. The worst part of your phone is the phone. The most ironic thing, right? It's the worst feature of the phone is the phone itself, because you're on ancient technology and it's ears only. So you try to get a compromised citizen to explain what the heck is going on, forget about it. Forget it. I was just in Hurricane Helene and there was flooding. We were doing river rescues. It was like a horror movie, and I can't even think. I'm
Yeah.
compromised. So
Yeah.
now we had to make it to where there's no app to download. Where when you call 911, you're getting a text, you're tapping on it, and you're allowing the camera. Now we're tapped into the camera. You can point that camera at the situation. It streams right to the police car, fire truck. It's called situational awareness, next gen policing.
It's huge.
Yeah, and we're getting on universities as well. And now we're taking this tech, and I was telling a home service person, someone in the moving industry, about this. They're like, James, you have no idea what you guys got. You're sitting on liquid gold. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, James, let me tell you how my moving company is going to use this. My most expensive thing that I do as a business owner is I put an hourly wage person in one of my trucks, and they drive out just in the hopes of getting a job. And I have to do it, right? Now what I'm going to do is we're going to do a hybrid method where I want to get my eyes on that project first. I'll send that text like they do in 911, tap it, and they can show me the job. This is going to do two things for me. One, I'm going to get to see if they're legit and not a tire kicker, because we've all driven up to a driveway and we didn't even have to walk in the door of the house. We know once we were going to say the price of our moving, they're going to be like, nope, I'm getting 2 pizzas and all my best friends and some garbage bags. That's how we're going to move. And I wasted my time, money, and effort, right? If I could at least seen it and my customer sees me, I can make a judgment when I do my discovery.
Because that's exactly what you're doing when you show up in person anyway. You're making that judgment call. There's a whole list, a hidden checklist for a lot of people, but there's a checklist of things that you're going through. Like, hey, is this even someone I want to work with? Are they, all these things, right?
Yep. And then the magical thing happened is sometimes it was easy to quote right there and close, like close on the spot. And
Crazy.
every time, in every industry, we've seen this now, where that you get them on that virtual call and you're seeing it, and now so you can still drive out if you want to, but if they're ready, think about the customer again. The customer really doesn't want to have 3 moving companies come by, take time off work. They literally, most customers, not all, some want to have 3 bids, and you know how fun that is. Not fun, because they're gonna like compare you. The best customers, the ones you want, are the ones that call you. They want the job done. You see it, close it, get the money, done. Like that's what they want. Like when your toilet is leaking, do you want to interview 5 people and then get that toilet fixed a week from now? No. You're in the Amazon Prime mindset. I want it done overnight now, not just 2 days. I want it done now. Now. That's hot.
It's got to be done right away.
Yeah. They don't want to make 5 more calls. They want to make 1 call. You want to race to the face, race to the job, race to the money. Boom. That is what we're in right now.
James, I'm putting you on the spot here a little. Can we actually demo this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you can share your screen, and it will allow you to actually just send something over, and we can do a little Inception video call here.
All right. I'm sharing the screen, or you have to put the screen up now. It's ready to be shared.
So there it is now, right there.
Okay. So we don't do apps, right? And everything I'm showing you can be done from any type of device, Android, iPhone, PC, Mac, tablet. We don't care. And it can be received at any device. We're device agnostic because we race at speed. Nobody wants to stop and download an app and remember their password. Not going to work.
You certainly don't want to be doing that in a 911 situation.
No, definitely no. And you don't want to be doing that in a home service situation.
No.
That's not fun for the customer. If you're asking your customer to go outside and take a bunch of photos, put them in a text message, upload them to a Dropbox, guess what? We hate that as customers. I got some driveway work done. My wife hated it. She was like, this is so stupid. I don't want to do this. So now all you need is a person's phone number. Now, Lewis, are you giving your phone number out?
I just shot it over the comments there, or the chat.
Okay.
Don't everybody message all at once.
That's all right. We'll just put this on the internet and blow your number up. See, it already recognized Canada. See?
Yeah.
Now that's the least. And look, it already has your name in there. My goodness. Killer. We're rolling. Okay. And then I can make a custom message. I don't have to. All I got to do now is hit send. We can teach your team how to do that in 5 minutes. If your team can send a text, they can use our stuff. Like we always say, it's so easy, your mama can do it.
So I just got the text.
Yep.
It says Live Switch has invited you to a video call. Click to join the call. I'm clicking
Yep. And when you
on the
answer it,
call.
try to, so we don't get a bunch of echo, go ahead and hit the mute button, your microphone button on your phone, so we don't get the echo chamber of death.
There we go. I think we're good.
We're
there
good.
I am.
There
I'm
you
here
are.
in the office having a chat with James.
Now, here's the things you can't see. All right, so let me show. First, if you look at my screen, it puts up a virtual background because I have my customers live in their truck. Like I live my life on a ladder. If I'm up on a ladder, I can still do a bid. It's amazing. So what Lewis has seen is this is not a FaceTime call. It's the reverse of a FaceTime call. Lewis sees himself large and me small. So,
Yep.
And by the way, a face closes money. I don't know if everyone knew that, but the face is the highest closer. I was at a conference in Orlando the other week. I was like, whose AI robot is their number one salesperson in your home service business? Raise your hand. We'd love to see it. Whole room full of people. No hands. I'm like, does everybody have somebody who blind bids? Blind bidding meaning like just only on the phone bid it. How accurate are you? We miss sometimes, right? Our eyes are quite important, all right? First of all. Second, I am building trust with the customer right now. If I'm the painter, he can see me as the business owner, and I'm the salesperson. You know who hates to sell at your business? A lot of your technicians, and you're making them upsell.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. Let the salespeople sell. And here's the thing. I interviewed a guy who runs an 8-figure moving company last week out of Seattle. His sales manager is in Poland, and his 37 salespeople are in South Africa. Let that blow your mind for a second.
Cool.
But people from South Africa can do it. So if you're having trouble finding good people, maybe you don't have to. Maybe you're in the high rent district. You can have people in the low rent, like lower parts of the U.S. Like, hey, you can hire, and now they can do this virtually. So now Lewis can really walk me around, show me the job, and if I'm so inclined, I'm like, I've seen enough. I can tell you how much it's going to be, or if it's a bigger job, or if now I've seen it, I've qualified. I know Lewis has got all the money in the world. I'm driving out, and we're sitting down at that dinner table, and I'm getting the money. Right? It's hybrid selling. But now I'm boxing people out. I went from now a phone call or a free quote on the website to interacting. All of this is recorded. So I'm recording this so I can show this to my ops team. It keeps everybody
inside Live Switch. So that's important for people to know. Like everything is recorded. There's also talk about the offline aspect of it as well.
I will. Actually, let me hold that thought really quick.
Okay, cool.
So other things I can do is I can take a remote photo. I've tapped into Lewis's cameras. When he said the yes button, now I got access to those high quality cameras. I'm not taking a photo of video. I'm taking a high quality photo that I can even zoom in on. Especially if there's pre-existing damage. This is called covering.
So I can turn my phone around too.
Yeah.
I can show that I was researching James before and coming up with questions to ask on the on the podcast. And there's my office and all that stuff. And he can take pictures of that while
I just did. And
while we're on the call.
I can take notes right here. Notes. I can even share my screen if I needed to go through a bid that I want him to DocuSign off. You can do what you need to do to close a deal. And we have thousands of users, and people are doing this every day. This isn't some science fair project. Like we power Adobe. We power the largest customers in the like that. I
think when you throw in 911 calls, that right there is just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, like we did the Super Bowl this year. We did the Super Bowl last year. If you go to MLB Ballpark and scan a QR code and they put you on the Jumbotron, we power that. We did the All-Star games during COVID, WWE Wrestling, when they had all the screens in the stadium. That was us. We're bringing this technology and power I'm bringing it home. This is where I come from. I live on a ladder. Like I'm bringing it back to guys like me, I'm like, cause I know who you are. And I know what your customers are like. I know what your team is like. I know what it's like to have staff that don't speak English. Like you want to talk about it. So that's why we make everything dead simple for your team and for your customers, and everything's recorded. So if you have salespeople that like to sell world peace, or if you have customers that like to bamboozle you, like, oh, your salesperson said that they would paint the shed as well in the quote. Like, well, let me check my instant replay. Could you imagine if we got rid of the instant replay in the NFL? People would go crazy.
Yeah.
But now I'm saying you can have an instant replay in your business as a business owner. Now you can put eyes on everything.
So valuable to be able to go back and listen to that stuff.
Yeah, and it comes through in training, it comes through in covering your butt, it comes through in making sure your team is doing the right things. It shines light on everything. It's good for your customers, it's good for your team. Now, if you suck or if your team is doing bad things and they're like, "Well, I don't wanna do this stuff," that should raise alarm bells and big red flags. That means they're hiding something.
Probably some bigger issues you gotta
Yeah.
focus on there.
But that's good. Like, don't let it alarm you. Let it be like, "Okay, that's where I gotta flex my muscles, and that's where I've gotta work, and that's where we gotta grow as an organization and team." Alright? So there you
Amazing.
go.
So I,
Alright.
I put James on the spot there, but he was able to just pull that up super fast, texted it over to me, and boom, we were in a video call,
Yeah.
and that's so powerful.
Yep, and I coulda done that sitting in a truck, right? And that's where I live my life. Now the
And
other
then
a
I'm gonna loop it back. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna loop it back to where you were talking about tagging everything, right? So you can tag your toilet, you can tag your garage door, you can tag your gutter downspout, you can tag wherever you want, that your customer will allow you to do that with a QR code that takes them right back to this same video call. Boom, it's right there with your team. And they can be like, hey, this just happened. My AC is starting to squeak. And here's the audio. We're here live. You don't have to send your technicians out. They can probably get a pretty good sense of what's happening. And that's crazy.
Yeah, we have 2 types of QR codes. We have one, if you happen to have 24/7 coverage, I can go to we call it wall to call. You literally easier than a phone number. You scan it, instant video, like Lewis is saying. If you don't have 24/7 coverage, you would probably also want to put a video Dropbox link. This is where
Yep.
there's nobody on the other end. And you were talking about what happens if the internet stinks. During one of these video Dropbox calls, you can lose internet because there's nobody on the other side. Like you can go to the basement, you can go to the attic if you're in the middle of the woods somewhere. And like we've got a company that installs the largest solar fields in the country, and they're in the middle of nowhere. And we needed to come up with something that would work in terrible and no bandwidth situations. So it can still record. It's all computer science. I got tons of computer scientists in the company, so it's very nerdy around here. My partner and I he ran landscaping companies, I ran painting companies. So don't worry, we won't let the engineers over engineer this stuff. Like we can't allow that. So but because of the computer scientists, we found a way where you can take a video, even in bad internet, no internet, and it'll still upload to the cloud. It'll ping you, and then you can see it. So, because sometimes these problems, like for plumbers, happen at 2 in the morning when you're wanting to stay asleep, but you
Yep.
still want to service that customer. But
Yep.
tagging everything it's a race to tag. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's already happening right now. This is not it's going to happen in the future. It's happening as we speak.
So I love that you went through that. Let's pivot to how do we let customers know that this is a thing? I'm thinking back to the marketing side of things. This is an incredible tool. How do we then help our customers embrace that? How do we make it clear on our website? How do we make it clear in everything we do on social media that this is a feature that we offer that's just insanely cool that you should be trying out? Give us a call, give us a video call, and try it out for yourself. How do you do that for someone who doesn't know? Because your client who you've tagged in their property, they know this. They've interacted with you at this point. But for those people who are cold or just don't know the technology that you have, how do you
Yeah.
how do you work on that?
Okay, step 1, just let them know. Like, "Hey, I can," instead of putting a time on the calendar, like for tomorrow for me to drive out, I can just send you a text and you can show me right now. I might be able to quote you right now. Now, you're still gonna have, I mean, some people, bless their heart, they don't even have a smartphone, so you're still gonna have to drive out. This is not a 100% replacement, but it's not a 2% replacement, right? If you do half the bids, and some of our folks, they go from, "James, we drove out every time," to, "James, we only drive out when we have to." Like that is so what I've seen over the last 2 years. Like that is what the business owners say. There's an adoption. So you just, one, let the customers know, hey, if I can send you a text, I can start quoting you right now, or at least see the job, right? And all you have to do is tap a text. One of my guys was like, James, I got a 90-year-old on this the other day. Like that's fantastic. It is that easy. I mean, we
That's awesome.
watch Lewis do it, right? The second thing is everything's recorded, so you could just do uh, a demonstration with one of your team, or some of your customers will say, "Oh yeah, I don't care. You can share it." All these, like, we recorded everything that Lewis and I just did was recorded. You can download that. You just hit the download button and you can put it on your website. I've got tons of companies that say the future of moving, the future of plumbing, the future of electrician, and they just show the little photo of what it's like to receive a quote, right on their site. Like this is what's going to happen for you too. it shows you, it also presents your company as forward thinking, fast. Like, you're going to blow some people away. It's so funny. I love when I go to meet people for the first time and they're like, "Oh, my mover did that to me the other week. I've used your stuff. This is great. I loved it." So it's
That's
it's
awesome.
really fun to like hear how customers receive this, the customer experience, not just your employee experience, but yeah, just let them know, show them a little video of it, and then, off to the races.
That's amazing. So you talked about, leveraging the video, leveraging that to get in the race to the face. Talk a bit more about race to the face and why that's so important.
Yeah.
We've touched on it a couple times, but I'd really like to, kind of distill that down here for people listening.
I'm going to make it real, and everybody here is going to be like, "Yep, that's happened to me." Have you ever booked a time to drive out to go give a bid, and when you call the morning of to say, "Hey, we're coming out," and they say, "Actually, don't bother. I had someone come out already. It's taken care of."
Yep.
That's happened to everybody. That's race to the face. You know what happened? Here's what happened. You got the first call and they booked it. You were like, "Well, I can come out in 2 days because that's what my schedule looks like for my sales guy." And they're like, "Let me just call one more person." And that person was like, "I'll come out now, or I'll do a virtual estimate with you right this second and close the business." Because you have customers that it's not what your branding looks like, although it's important to have good branding. It's not how good your salesperson people are, although you need good salespeople. Speed is everything. It's everything in the NFL. It's everything in the Olympics. And guess what? It's everything for Amazon. And now it's everything for you. And you can be mad. You shake your fist at Amazon. They ruined us. That's just what happened, So
Amazon and TikTok.
yeah. And we call it race to the face because now normatively, hey, if you're good, you're picking up your phone. And now I was at a conference last week and I'm like, "You know what, guys, I'm going to secret shop some home services right now during my talk on stage."
Brutal.
Oh, listen to this. This is how brutal it was. I said, "I want a power washer near me." I won't say where I was, so I don't embarrass anybody. Although I embarrassed someone pretty hard, not unintentionally. And 766 5-star reviews, and I hit the call button on stage, right? Rang 10 times, went right to voicemail. So then I was like, "All right, let's go to the 366 5-star." Called. It went to an AI robot. And I said, "Hey, I have a house party tomorrow and I want my house washed now and I've got lots of money. I want to buy." The robot was like, "That's great to hear. If you could answer a few more simple questions, I can I was like, "I'm ready to buy right now." That's great to hear. Everybody was like, "Oh, well, what happened?" The next day, I'm walking around the conference and I see a person with a jersey on. And I'm like, "Oh, I think that's the name of the person." I look at on their jersey is their phone number and I compare my phone number. I was like, "Oh, dang, the guy I secret shopped and went to voicemails right there." Well, he was in another session later that day, and the speaker was like, "Oh, did you hear about the other speaker who was secret shopping?" And one of the people who was sitting in my session was like, "Yeah, and the guy's right here who didn't pick up his phone." And then the whole the lawyer's like, "Oh," and then he's like, "And the guy that called you is standing right outside." Well, this guy, he's like 7 feet tall, of course, and like a muscle everywhere. He grabs another guy, and they're coming right at me, and I'm like,
It's
I'm like,
over.
"This is it. This is how I die. I mean, this is how it ends." I had a good run. Well, they come up. He's like, "Did you call me yesterday?" And I was like, "Yeah, I called you. Like, that's was part of my thing." He's like, "What time?" And I was like, "Time." Well, the marketing guy starts going, "Well, it's out of town." He starts making every bit of excuse. You know why? Because the marketing guy is supposed to pick up the phone. Right. And then the
And he
owner's like,
did it.
hold on. The owner was like, "No, no, no. We didn't pick up the call. It says right here. And look at his phone." And he's like, "Yeah, we didn't pick up the call." And to one other point, I had another guy when he hired a new manager. He's like, I was like, "We're going to secret shop all of our 12 competitors right now." And they called all 12 of them. Only one picked up the phone. And the person picked up like, "What's up? What you want? What's up?" He's like, "That's our competition." He's like, "That's why we got to, one, pick up the phone.
And then get your face in front of their face.
Face as fast as possible. That's it. Race to the face."
Huge.
Huge.
Do you have any examples or stats of someone who went from using contact forms and just phone calls and going out to bid every job to someone who switched to live switch? Any stats on like close rates or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, I could literally, let me see if I can do this in real time.
Tell some stories. Stories sell.
Yeah. Although this is just what it is. So we use this program. I'm not that fond of it, called Slack for our company to talk to each other, right? I'm
We
sure
do as well.
Okay. Well, we have a
It's
channel.
expensive Discord.
It really is. What a pain. It makes me want to take a nap. But anyway, and if you love Slack, good for you. We have a channel where we have customer success, live switch project management, where we train, we teach, and anytime that we meet, we talk to our customers. We love human connection, and they give us little quotes. And this is unprepared. All right, this is gonna be raw. I don't even know what it's gonna read. I'm just gonna read it because that's me. I'm not gonna cook the books. All right. So first thing I see, this is from Wednesday. It is a quote from Preston from Spring, Texas Painters. He said, "I love Live Switch. Just won a job and only had to do 15 minutes of work. Saved me 40 miles each way just on the inside of my service area. Let me do some quick math. Yep, this job, and it wasn't a big one, has already paid for Live Switch. www.stpainters.com. Get a quote."
Look at that.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's do one more. Dun, 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 dun. Richard from Horizon West Roofing. Save me from driving 2 hours and close the deal. Live Switch is great. I mean, I keep going. I mean, they're all like this.
Give us a couple more, yeah.
Yeah. Chris from Styles Moving. Best decision ever! Exclamation. So streamlined. Tell your team they really know what they're doing. Already won job after first use. We are all in with you for the long haul.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally, these are just all from the last month. I mean, and they're all like this. This one. This is going to be all caps, life-changing. So much better than Microsoft Teams. Live Switch has great products and makes life easy. Kent Relocation Group in Australia. That's the largest moving company in all of Australia.
That is awesome.
And it goes on and on. Oh, this one's great. I know these guys. Kevin and Richie from Horizon West Roofing. I love it. I love it all. Already used it over the weekend, so I did not have to drive anywhere on Sunday. This is fantastic.
It's huge.
There you
it's
go.
Huge. And there's I had a thought that I was going to say. Now I'm going to stall, so I can't remember the thought. So we'll go to the next topic here. But it's so powerful to be able to. Oh yeah, it was Microsoft Teams. Like if you're trying to send like Teams links or Google Meet links or Zoom links, like people have to download the app. They have to do all these permissions. You have to like play with the audio and try and figure that stuff out. It's just a mess. It's even a mess like to do it with my own team sometimes.
Yeah.
So to have something here is just huge.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to stand up here and knock any of those because I mean,
they all have their application.
The thing is, it wasn't built for what we're trying to do. It was built for us to have a conference call. It was built for COVID. It wasn't built for that. Like even down to the point when you picked up the phone and you saw yourself big, which is reverse of what a Teams is, and me small. It's because it's designed. Like where I tapped in and took remote photos, where that entire recording, nothing is stored on my device or the customer device. It's all in the cloud. That's on purpose. We believe anything recorded on your phone, photos or videos of your business that is not in the cloud is an absolute liability. If you lose your phone or your phone bricks, that's and then someone calls, like that's a claim potential. You need to look at that as a huge liability, right? So you want to have purpose-built tools. We all have purpose-built tools in our home service business. I mean, I can paint a house with my hands and do finger painting. I could do that. I literally could do that. It would take me forever and it would not be fun. No, I start using spray guns. I have my ladders. I've got the right tools for the right job. And then we're like, oh yeah, I tried that and it didn't work. I'm like, of course you tried a tool and it didn't work. Like, it's like saying you tried to hand paint your house. Like, it's like nonsense, you know, like like it's one of those things where it's like, I just read all those quotes. I didn't make that stuff up. And and it's not like, you know, hey, if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's not a big deal. But like, I just, it's one of those things. It's like, I can tell you how great vanilla ice cream is, but you
got to try it.
You got to try it.
That's why I wanted to do the demo, because it's actually really fun to do. Like, it's so simple. And you just send me the link, text me the link, I pop onto it, and boom, I'm there. Let's switch gears a little bit. I'm a sucker for out-of-the-box marketing ideas. Let's hit some out-of-the-box marketing ideas that you've used for Live Switch, for your painting company, for your power washing company. Let's give the people some nuggets.
Yeah. So let's go back to QR codes. Put those jokers on flyers, put them on door hangers, put them on property like we're talking about. This is going to help with referrals. This is going to help Like if someone gets a glossy mailer and is like, get an instant quote right now with a professional, they might save that for a future problem. Like
Yep.
now you're claiming properties, like even have a little punch out, make it a magnet. They might not even be your customers, and now you're claiming properties, right? Like draw a circle around. Here's the other really cool thing for marketing. There's a neighborhood, I'm sure, if you're a home service person, that's just outside of your radius. Remember one of those quotes said inside the radius? There's a radius that you have, and the radius is dictated by how far you're willing to drive out to do a bid. Guarantee that's why your radius is what it is. Now, because you can do virtual estimates, you can draw a digital circle around that beautiful neighborhood or commercial district that you've been wanting and just too far away or where you wanted to put your second location. Talk to your marketing people. Lewis, hit this zip code, hit this neighborhood, right? With digital and physical marketing. When those come in, again, tout you do virtual quick estimates, then do one because you are willing, if the size of the job is big enough, to drive out there and do the work if it's closed up business and you've got a signed contract.
Yeah.
So you're opening your digital radius.
And the beautiful thing about Live Switch is it doesn't replace anything that you're already doing. You could be running Facebook ads to Messenger. You could be running, you could have your contact form. You're going to call them up just like you normally do. While you're on the call to them to set that appointment, you can now, do the video call. You can have people calling in just like normal off of your website. All of this can still happen just like normal, but now you've got a virtual truck that's going to go out there and take you with it to the property.
There's two things you can put on those ads. One's a QR code and one's a link to tap it. And now it goes to a fill out form where they put in and you get to decide what that's on that fill out form. You really just need their phone number and their name, right? And then they take a recorded video if you don't want to have somebody guarding it, or it can come in live. Right. And then boom, you're calling up. I've already looked at your project. You're armed and dangerous in a good way because you've seen their stuff, and you're back off to the race to the face. Right. And you're giving them an interactive ad. Everybody expects an ad to go to a website. Not everyone expects the ad to go right to the bid. We're skipping a step. You're going right through that customer experience, and you're removing pieces. You're getting faster to get your money and get on property. And that's what is in demand.
It's a big deal. What is the craziest marketing tactic that you have done that either flopped or was a win?
For my personal company?
Yeah.
Oh, the craziest thing I've ever done. I go back to my own power washing days is knocking on people's doors. That's just insane. For most people, they're scared to death of it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't care about no's. I was literally at a conference the other week, and they were like, going door to door is cool again. Right?
I think it is too, especially in roofing and some of the bigger industries. You see that still happening quite a bit.
Yeah. Gutter cleaning, pest control, roofing. Now landscaper. I had a landscaper knock on my door the other day to put pine straw down. They strategically only knocked on my door. I saw them leave my neighborhood because we had just ordered a bunch of pine straw. If that guy had come 2 days earlier, my wife would have given him the job. She's like, I just ordered pine straw. That was so smart though. And I was like, way to go, my man. So there's other ways to do that. Obviously, that's totally counter to even what we're talking about today, right? But it's crazy, but crazy good.
Get out there and hunt and make it happen. Now, what are some of the objections that you hear from people who are considering using Live Switch to do virtual estimates or chat with people? What are some of the objections there around, oh, well, it's still not as good as going out, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Talk about that.
I've done this way for 30 years. I'm like, yeah, but how did you make phone calls 30 years ago? How do you make them today? Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You believe it's your award-winning attitude and like your award-winning whatever that wins every job. You're not Oprah. You're not Jimmy Fallon. Come on, dude, get over yourself. And then I ask a few simple pain point questions. I'm like, have you ever lost a job just because you booked it 2 days out when your amazing personality could go out? Well, yeah. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. If that's how you are. It's fine. It's called, a late adopter. That's fine. I'm not mad. I'm trying to challenge you. Can I challenge you? Just to think. I'm not even saying buy Live Switch. Forget that. I just want to challenge you as a business owner to be thinking a little bit differently about how you scale and grow your business and how you service your customers and ultimately your customer experience. Be the customer. That's the answer to the test. The other thing is, oh, my sales team wouldn't want to get on video. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. I'm like, get a new sales team. Get one in South Africa. My man in Seattle.
If they can't go on video, it's the same face showing up at the actual quotes.
I'm like, what's the difference? But some people, this thing with a camera in their space, I mean, hey, I get it, don't get it. I'm like, well, okay, don't do it. But the guys you're competing with
are going to be doing it. Yeah.
Like you're literally competing against this. Like I feel bad for the person in Seattle who has a moving company going against my guy Grant.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's an 8-figure business. And he's blowing minds. Like we had him on a virtual stage and people were just like minds like, how are you doing this? Like this is how.
Awesome.
But it's getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your lane. And this isn't big change management. You are not adopting a new CRM. Good golly.
No, you're not changing. That's why I made the point of you're not changing from phone calls. You're not changing from your contact form. It doesn't really change anything. It just improves. It changes the truck. You're now in a virtual truck that goes out to the house with you in the blink of an eye.
And in some cases, we're already under the hood of your CRM. We're under the hood of Service Titan. We're under the hood of Jobber. I had a guy purchase yesterday for RV services. It's an RV services business on Jobber, and he charges for a virtual estimate. He actually charges for a virtual estimate, but he's very niche, right? That's RV services. But they literally book the job and pay for it in Jobber. He sends them the live switch link, and then he gets paid for it. So if you're charging for on-site estimates, I know some plumbers do that, some different service-based businesses, try to do this virtually and still charge for it if you want. Yeah. Why? It's fast and convenient. That's what the customer wants. They're paying for convenience. Do you pay for your Amazon Prime? I'm sure everyone listening probably has Amazon Prime. You pay for that speed. You're paying for speed, literally. That's it. Yeah. Nothing else. Same product. You're just getting it overnight or in 2 days. So think about this stuff. And once you do it, you're like that's why when we read those comments, we're like, oh my gosh. Like when you experience it, you are a convert, to it. Yeah. And again, I don't want to get up here and say it's 100% of the time. I don't want to get up here and say, hey, there's a little bit of, hey, it's a little bit new. Like for you as an organization, if you haven't been doing it, like that change with anything. You change from wearing black every day to wearing white every day. You get a little weird about it. It doesn't matter. You change your breakfast cereal. You change, that's okay. Change is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to the couple businesses you had. Let's say you had to start your painting company completely from scratch. You still have the knowledge you have. You just have a truck. What would you do differently or the same? What would be your plan of attack to go out? Let's say door knocking's out, because we've already chatted about that. What would you do to get jobs coming in right away?
Okay, so this assumes, hold on, because if I'm completely bootstrapped like I was in the beginning when I had no money, I couldn't afford to pay for anything. So I had to knock on doors. That was it. There was no other way. But if I had a little bit of money, and it doesn't take much, right? I would first be looking for a marketing company, right? I need lead gen. I would need to make my website. If I don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to do that, you got to have a digital footprint. You're not even a serious company if you don't have. But if you need to start on Facebook, I've seen plenty of home service businesses start just on Facebook, no website, and you do good work. At the heart of you strip everything away. Can you actually do good work? I'm just asking, because if you can't do good work, then you're already done for. Can you actually be a good plumber, be a good painter? So first thing I did is I apprenticed myself to someone who paints houses the right way. You have to wash the house. You have to prep the house. I wanted to have a good product. Do you have a good product? Because marketing can't save you if you don't have a good product. Marketing can't save you if you're not going to pick up the phone. Marketing can't save you if you're not going to be speed to lead. Doesn't it drive you nuts as a marketing lead gen person when the
I already know what you're going to say.
blaming you and you're like, you're not even picking up the phone. You're not even, how fast are you getting back to the quote? The leads are there. Right. So I would definitely be website, make sure my product's good, market it the right way, and plot myself in good location. Location. Where's the money? And all you have to do is look for where a Costco is and go live near one of those. They've already done all the research for you. Seriously.
Oh, that's interesting. Never thought of that.
They've already done all the research. Find a Costco and go live near one. Right. Or,
Interesting.
find a Walmart. If you're in a rural
Any
area,
of the super centers, yeah.
yeah. And if you're in a rural area, find a Dollar General. Seriously. Like if you're in a rural area, market around to a radius around Dollar General. They've already done all the work for you.
That's cool. That's cool. Never thought of that. That's a nugget right there.
I got a few of them.
What have we not talked about that you'd like to talk about, James, as we
Yeah,
wrap
let
up
me
here?
go one other thing that has nothing to do with anything we've talked about, but just something that I really want to challenge everybody with, and it's something that I'm passionate about because it's impacted me. All right, that's called networking. Okay,
Hmm.
networking. As a home service people, I find so many home service folks that throw networking out the window. They're like, "Oh, not important. Not going to help me." You're wrong. You are wrong, and I can prove it over and over again. I was a nobody, a flea on a dog 18 months ago in certain home service and property management industries. The other week, I was on a virtual stage of a virtual conference in which I hosted it. I had all the most popular thought leaders in the industry. So if you think about your most popular thought leaders in your industry, I was on the virtual stage with them, and this person would not return my calls. And now I'm on a virtual stage interviewing them, and people were paying $100 a ticket to hear it. How did I do that? No one just gave it to me. I'm not that good looking. I am not Metallica, as we talked about earlier. I'm not that cool, guaranteed. Don't listen to Lewis. He's already starting off with the lies. I'm not cool. How did I become cool? This is how you become cool in your industry, and you need to be cool in your industry. Go to a little site called LinkedIn. Lewis, I think we've been talking on LinkedIn. That's how we
connected, yeah.
that's
You
how
and
we
your
connected.
assistant were harassing me.
Yeah, that's what we do. I'm like Santa
In a
Claus.
good way. In a
I'm
good way.
coming down your chimney. I don't want you to come down my chimney. I'm going to come to you. That's just what's going to happen. Like I believe I'm a hunter. Santa Claus is a hunter. Anyway, so what you can do is go to LinkedIn, and you can only do this 20 times a day, and you need to do it every day in the weekends, and you can do it while you're sitting on the toilet. That's too much information, but you can do it. And you pick your industry and your location, and you hit the little connect button 20 times. Don't do it more than 20 in a day because you get blacklisted. Okay. 20, and you don't say a dang thing. Just hit connect. Okay. What's going to happen at first? Some crazy souls will say yes to you. 1 or 2 of them out of 20 each day. But fast forward the clock after you do this for about a month. When you send a connect message and that person sees 150 mutual connections, do you know what that person on the other end is thinking?
Want to join the party.
Why don't I know this person?
Yeah.
Like they feel kind of ashamed. I guess 150 mutuals. Like, how do I not know who this person is? They hit accept. Now, the other thing you're going to do once a week, this is not a time consuming thing. I promise you. Once a week, do a before and after shot. Do a happy customer testimonial. If you've been listening to awesome podcasts, share them. If you've been reading a book, quote from it. Pictures, videos, put it up there once a week. Here's what will happen. And even connect with vendors and start connecting with people outside of your industry. You are going to be asked to be on a podcast, maybe. You might not get asked. You can reach out and tell Lewis after you've connected. He's seen all your great content. Lewis be like, oh, yeah, home service guy who is competent in sharing. Absolutely want you on here, right? How will that benefit you? Ladies and gentlemen, I have made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because of this. I have been on stages because of this. I'm on this podcast right now because of this. Now, I have good content behind me and real stories. I'm not a ding dong, I don't think. Unless you ask my daughters. But anyway, so I try to be a serious person. I fill my mind with podcasts. I put myself next to the top influencers and knowledge base, not just influencers. Don't think of like Instagram. I'm talking about like thought leaders, like people that run 8-figure businesses. And I apprentice myself to them and I learn. I'm going into so many industries I knew nothing about self-storage, and now we're disrupting all the self-storage industry. And I'm speaking and on at self-storage. Like, how did I do that? I just found the credible men and women, got my notepad out, did the LinkedIn thing that I'm recommending you do. And I promise you, do this for 3 months and come back to me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you didn't get an extra job because of it. Tell me you didn't become and you give back. There's this crazy thing that if you give, you receive more than you ever give. This is as old as times thing. But that's Another thing I want to get your wheels spinning on, and do not throw out the networking baby with the bathwater. It'll change your business.
I call it the N word of business.
Okay.
No one wants to do it. No one wants to think that it works. But if you like, it's so powerful.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, love it, James. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for making the time to make this happen. And I will just pivot back to your networking thing. So you had connected with me. I believe your assistant sent me an email.
Yep.
You connected with me on LinkedIn. And
Yep.
then I had a client who was talking to you message me saying, you got to talk to James and have him on the podcast. And I was like, okay, I think I archived or deleted your assistant's message. I accepted your request. And then we chatted there quickly on LinkedIn. And then a client, like, you hit me from 3 angles. I was like, all right, cool. We'll give him some time of day. You and I hopped on and chatted for about half an hour a couple of weeks ago. And then here we are, because I think that what you've got is cool. And it's got to be an interesting conversation to have someone on the podcast. But you went about it in a way that, you kept touching in with me, and there's power in that too from a networking perspective. So just wanted to add that. Appreciate your insights. Everyone go check out LiveSwitch. When the podcast goes live, there'll be a link to check out. You can just go to the website LiveSwitch as well.
Yep.
And try it out. Hop on the phone call with James or one of his team.
Ask for me.
There's
just ask for me. Literally go there. When you click it, say, I want to talk to James. Like anyone listening to this podcast, I will make myself available to you. Rather than anyone else in my company, you can just come right to me and we can talk about business if you want. You don't even have to look at the product. We can just talk about if you want to talk through. And because I love business owners, because I used to be one.
Yeah. It's a scary, exciting place as a business owner. And if you can get some tools like this to help you. And again, I say this at the end of every podcast, pick something, pick one thing, 1 or 2 things, and do them consistently. Do the networking, do the door knocking if you need, get LiveSwitch, get something from this episode, go put it into action, get out there, color outside the lines, and be a change maker in your community. James, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next one.